Hi everybody, this is Jacob Vial doing another fine-tuning video on the port. Now that I've done a couple little minor changes in the vehicle, whether it was actually bracing the roof, adding these roundovers down here, up here, and right here. Now I'm going to fine-tune the length here to see if I can reduce the port to gain a little bit more on the output, reduce my peak, lower it slightly, improve on the lows. So we'll see how this goes. I do a lot of port adjustment videos because of the port is probably the #1 area where you can adjust, tweak, tune, fine tune, improve, round over, smooth out, open up, shrink to gain and to get louder output. So we'll see how it goes. First and foremost, always start off with finding out where it currently stands. So before I touch it, I'm going to find out where it sits. So I already know how it sits from the previous video, but new viewers always. So I'm going to do another test with it. Vehicle's not the prettiest, guys, but I'm doing this for fun and entertainment purposes. So single 12, and I'm going to be testing with an SSA meter. I always do my volume 20 when I do my tests. I use a peak sweep to find my peak with my decibel meter on the glass. Turn my bass knob up, volume 20, and we'll find out where it peaks at to start. All right, so we'll remember that 25.21. So we'll remember the 25.21 to start. So what I'm going to do, keep everything on. I'm going to physically go over here. And what I got over here is some ports. So I start off with this is an ugly port that has been sitting outside for a while. I had it with all my PVC storages from my old build, but it's not what matters on look right now. I can tape over it later. So what I'm about to do is get this in. It's a little tight, but what I'm going to do is get this rounded into port. And to fine tune it, you got to use really slim pieces. So I could use wood, but right now. So all that did was add that thickness to it. So that's probably a 1/4 of an inch, my guess. PVC is a 1/4 of an inch. Maybe one of you guys that work with PVC could tell me how thick it is without me getting a caliper out. So I add that in there. If this gains slightly, then that means that I need to shrink it. If it doesn't, then that means I'm good. Or I need to open it up. So here we go. I really hope it gains, but we will see. All right. Make sure nothing changed. It obviously didn't. Volume 20. Head unit power is at volume 20. Bass knob's the same. Here we go. So I didn't gain, so that means that port is pretty tweaked in place with where it needs to be, most likely, as I assumed, but I'm doing video. So 25.21, 25.17, so I lost about 1/10 of a dB. So that means that me adding that little bit, I most likely didn't really gain, and I might be going downhill. So that could mean that I need to maybe open it up. So just while I'm on video, I do these things for you guys to learn. So what I'm going to do is I'll find out what my port length is with this out, since that seemed like it was a good point without my roundover. So let's find out exactly where I stand port area wise. So I know I'm 113 square inches of port at 100% cone area, and right now my port length, the height is 14. So 14 by 5 3/4. Sorry, it's hard for y'all to see what I'm doing, but I'm literally measuring the length and then the height. Or sorry, the width and the height of this to find out exactly where it stands. So right around 6, 5.5 to 6, depending on where the roundover is. I always just go by worst case scenario, so right at the edge, the smallest point. So that's 5 3/4. So let me go ahead and grab my calculator real quick. Alright, sorry about that. So I grabbed my calculator so I can explain this as I go. So I got 5.75 times 14, so 14 high by 5. Alright, so 80.5 divided by 113. So that's right around 71% port area currently. And I'm losing by going down. So by downsizing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to test it one more time, but put the round over on this side instead. And we'll see if that does any difference. I doubt it will, but I got to do it on just to see, out of curiosity. So what I'm doing is I literally just put a little small piece in there. It's ugly, but what I'll do is I'll see if this did any kind of change on it. So I'm really fine tuning this port to an optimal area that gives me the best output near my peak for my box. I'll turn my meter back on. Alright, so let me know if you have any questions or why I'm doing this. This is really important for 4th orders especially and 6th order bandpass, because these ports get tweaked to your resonance, tuning peak, and port area, and this is so many factors I can't explain right now. Alright, so let me turn this on again. Whoops. It needs to be set up to a peak hold. Sorry about that. Peak holds on. Oh, it's really close. So I didn't gain again. 25.23, 25.23, 25.21. So it's all right on dead on right where it needs to be. So that means that my port area is about right. So 71% port area on a worst case scenario, measuring that center, center to center, height to height on the close point. So me adding this still didn't really do any kind of drastic change there. So the only other thing I can do is test here, or I could go back in depth. Somebody suggested depth, but anytime I do depth, I always lose. So there's really no real need for me to test depth. But so my end result is right around 70% cone area is where my best output is optimally. Me testing, adding slight variation to this port length. Width doesn't give me any gain, and height doesn't either because I've tested before. So I'm going to do another test or two on my own, but no more videoing. So that's where I stand, 70% cone area. Right around 80 square inches of port for a single 12. So if anybody's working on big ratios like me, that 65-70% port area mark, I say you start around 75% and shrink down. So really depending on what your type of system is. 50% starting is not always the best route for some people. Bigger ratios are known to have bigger port area, more peaky but less musical. Alright, I'll see you on the next video. I hope y'all learned something. Check it all out.